Open access to heaven. In Jesus Christ, for his crucifixion, Jesus opened the way to heaven for us, and through his resurrection and ascension, Jesus justified us so that we can actually walk in spirit in the heavenly realms, justified without any accusation, without any of our sin, without any of our shame or guilt, chasing us and dogging us down and disqualifying us from walking in those heavenly realms. And through his ascension, Jesus gave us the right to become children of God. It says that in the scriptures too, and the ability to walk in spirit, aligned with him in the spirit realm or the heavenly realm, whichever language you want to give it. So his crucifixion, his death, tore the dividing wall between heaven and earth. Now there's complete access into heaven. His resurrection justified us, so that when we stand in spirit in the heavenly realms, as every Christian does, by the way, it mentions that in Ephesians, that we are seated in the heavenly realms with Jesus, we're completely justified. So everyone looks at us, every single angel, every single demon, and they're like, yeah, you can't bring any accusation against these people because they're in Jesus. And the ascension glorified us. So we are glorified with the glory of God, and we're risen with Jesus Christ, seated in the heavenly realms. And this is an inner spiritual glory. If you're able to see in the spirit and witness a Christian spirit, you'll notice a difference between a Christian spirit and a non-Christian spirit. Most witches and New Agers with spiritual senses open will comment on this. They will say there is a light around a Christian that there isn't around other people. But I'll just leave that with you. So, Jesus Christ, through those three acts, the crucifixion, resurrection, and ascension, established the beginning of a new covenant. And this is key, that we are in a new agreement with God before heaven and earth. It's defined in grace and truth, and it mentions that in John's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 14. At his crucifixion, the curtain in the temple of God was torn, and that separated us from God's holy presence, and it's a symbolic representation that God is broken out and he's now dwelling in every single person that believes in him. So if you want God inside you, you want God inside you, it's as simple as saying, I believe in Jesus Christ. And God will rush to you and say, okay, I want to live with you, I want to be with you, and I want to tell you everything about me, and I want to find out everything about you. That's the beauty of God. So God is now among us, everywhere. There's nowhere you can go to escape from his presence. He is everywhere throughout the entire universe. So whatever held us back in the old covenant, under those old days, from intimate day-to-day relationship with God, has been removed. The barrier that prevented us walking with one foot on earth and one foot in the heavenly realms, put aside, and God's given us free access to explore all realms, whether physical or spiritual. The scriptures tell us that the throne of God is the highest of the heavens, so as we have free access to the throne of grace, so we've got free access to the location where the throne of grace is, the highest of heavens. So everything is open to us freely, and the book of Hebrews actually tells us to boldly approach the throne of grace, to boldly approach God's throne. Don't cower, don't be afraid, don't think you're disqualified. It says actually walk with confidence before him and enter into his most holy place. This means we've got access to everything, from the highest of heavens to the lowest of the spiritual realms, to all the earthly realms. We can walk so long as we're clothed in Jesus. That means we believe in Jesus and we are in step with his spirit. We are totally okay to explore everything God's made, but I'll cover that again on another session. So Jesus enabled free and safe access to every single spiritual realm, because the secret is that Jesus first of all descended into the lower realms, and then he ascended to the highest of all realms. So in that act of going all the way down to the bottom, all the way up to the top, Jesus basically redeemed all realms. And it says that by the sprinkling of his blood, Jesus redeemed all realms. So that means that they are redeemed for us, so that we can walk in those realms in the Spirit of God, without accusation, without fear, and without shame. We can go in with peace before God in the safety of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, because we ourselves, if we believe in him, have been purified by his blood and by his Spirit. So for those who believe in the name of Jesus and have asked him to dwell in their hearts, we have this spiritual reality, and it is called the realm of life, the kingdom of life. We are in God's life. We've been seated with Christ in the heavenly realms, so we're seated in his life by his resurrection power. See, if we were not in life, we cannot be ascended into the heavenly realms in spirit. But as we are in life, we cannot do anything but be seated with Christ, because he himself is life. So in giving his life into us, he has to move us into the place where he is, which is his heavenly realm. And it mentions that in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 6. So we also house inside us the holiest of all spirits, the Spirit of God. He now lives and abides in our bodies if we believe in Jesus. This is through our intimacy with God, and it is also the key to our intimacy with our Father in heaven. We are a spiritual people, and we lived fueled by the presence of God poured into our hearts direct from his throne room. So we are open, a constant conduit of connection between the throne of God and earth.